Hey, what's up, everyone? I just realized you could record shit on YouTube. I didn't know. I had no idea. So, hopefully, I won't have any more than problems like I was having with stuff cutting off. But, anyways, let me adjust this mug here real quick. Alright, so I want to do a video real quick and just kind of talk about why I carry. There we go. Why I carry a revolver for self-defense. It seems that, there's a lot of debate over revolver, over semi-auto, and whatever. And first I'm going to say, I'm not going to knock the autos. I grew up loving autos. When I was born in 81, so when I was born, the police were still using, they were still, mostly carrying revolvers, and that was still, like, the predominant thing, and the autos were, like, just starting to gain some foothold in the world of guns. Even though they've been around forever, they weren't the predominant type of gun. So I grew up loving those because they weren't the popular thing yet. I've been shooting my dad since I was somewhere between 8 and 10 years old. Shooting all kinds of guns. Revolvers, autos, rifles, shotguns, whatever. And, I grew up hating revolvers. I hated them. I swore to myself I'd never own one. But there was always something about a blued snub-nosed revolver with the wooden grips that always kind of had, like, I always figured if I were to get one that's what I would get. Basically, my Model 15, that this was what I had in mind if I ever decided to get a revolver. But I still had really no desire to get one. Now, I grew up loving the autos. There were tons of them that I wanted. Tons of them. So, I didn't really start buying guns until, just a few years ago. I had a couple. My dad gave me one about 10 years ago. My Beretta, I have not done a video on that yet. It's a 9000S 40 cal. And I bought my Stoger Coach gun. I bought that about 8 or 9 years ago, something like that. But I just never really wanted to spend the money on it because, back then I was younger. I was always going out and partying, and I used to be kind of crazy going out and drinking and partying it up. So I didn't really have the money to spend because I was out blowing at the bar all the time. But now that I'm older, I don't really almost never drink anymore. It has to take something really special occasion like a wedding or a concert if I'm even going to consider drinking. Excuse me. Shit, I haven't even stepped foot in a bar in at least 2.5 years, probably, or 2 years, 3 months, somewhere in there. But sorry. I don't know. I just lost interest in all that. I've had so much fun. I've drank enough and partied enough for a couple lifetimes. So I don't know. I got in a DUI. I lost my job because I lost my CDL, and it was suspended for a year. And during that year, it was a really tough time. I struggled a lot with money. I struggled just in my head dealing with it. But after the year was up, I got my job back, and I'm getting my CDL back, and I've been there ever since. And that was my second DUI. My first one was 6 years prior to that. But I was told that if I get another DUI, I'm going to end up with my license suspended for 10 years and no CDL ever again. So it ain't worth the risk to me anymore. I got Jackie to take care of, and I got bills to pay, and it's just not worth it. So, anyways, now that frees up more money. So I've been buying guns the last couple of years. I started off, I bought my 6-shooter, my 1873 replica. I don't think I've done a video on that one yet. I've shown it in a video somewhere, but I haven't done a video on it yet. So, I bought that because I was watching Westerns, and then I started buying, what did I buy? I bought a Bursa Thunder 380, like the Bursa Thunder Combat 380, and I don't know, it's not necessarily a bad gun. I had the critical defense ammo for it, and it just does not feed well in that gun, at least not the one I had. So it jammed at least once every magazine, if not twice. So, and I always like little, bigger calibers. I do like the 38 just because it's classic and old school, but
I've always liked bigger calibers, at least something bigger than a 380. I don't like carrying a 22, and there's nothing wrong with them, but I just don't. I prefer something else. So after that, I bought one of the new SIG 320s, 40 cal. It was a 14+1 40 cal, which is pretty badass. I mean, that's a lot of rounds of a decent size caliber too. So, and I have to say, it's one of the smoothest guns I've ever shot in my life. I mean, there's almost pretty much no recoil at all. It is a beautiful gun. Functions wonderfully. I don't think it jammed on me, but I shot a box of 50 through it, and then my coworker shot one more magazine through it. So it only had 64 rounds put through it. So I don't really have enough experience with it to know if it's good or not with jams, but I didn't have any issues with it. I went to a gun show, and I traded the Bursa. I had like a three-way trade. I traded the Bursa to a vendor who had this. He was going to give me 200 credit, and it just so happened this guy that was shopping there, he saw my SIG, and he asked me if he could look, saw the box, and asked me if he could look and see what it was. I showed him, and he was very persistent in trying to buy it from me. And I told him, I said, I don't really want to sell it, I just want to end up with this. And if I don't end up with this, then I'm not going to sell or trade nothing. So I paid $500 in tax, so about $535 total for the gun. The Bursa, I don't know, maybe $250, $260. So all in all, I ended up getting $225 credit from the vendor, and I got $525 for the SIG. Now that was back before the failed drop test stuff came out, thankfully, because I might have got hosed on that deal if it had came out, if I tried to do it afterwards. But either way, I walked out with this, and I've never looked back. I would like to get another 320. They're very nice guns, and now that they've addressed the drop issues, I would like one of the carry size with the full grip and the shorter barrel, and then another full size. I don't know if I want 357 SIG, if I want another 40. I like that it's a good compromise between the 45 and the 9mm. The 45 holds 12+1, the 9 is a 17+1, and the 40 and the 357 SIG is a 14+1. So I think it's a decent compromise, but I mean, really, in all, they're all decent calibers. I love 45s though a lot, so I don't know. But anyways, that's so far down the list anyways, it doesn't even matter. But I had always carried the Beretta my dad had given me, and I fell victim to the hype. I listened to people saying, revolvers don't have as much ammo, or it doesn't have the capacity isn't as much as an auto, longer reload times, and whatever. And I believed that stuff for a long time. And finally one day it occurred to me that I've never had to shoot anybody before. I've never even had to draw my gun. I have flashed it at a couple people driving that have really pissed me off, and that works wonders. It'll get people to stop fucking around real quick. But although the revolver don't seem to freak people out as much, like when I pop around in the chamber of an auto, people say just something about that, man. They get the fuck away from you quick. But anyhow, there's all the hype about all this shit, and people, and there's people out there feel if you don't have like a Glock 17 or a Glock 19, that you might as well just not even carry a gun because you're screwed. And I don't understand that. And it occurred to me at some point that I've never had to shoot anyone. Most likely, I never will have to shoot anyone. I hope I don't ever have to shoot anyone. And that if I do, I mean, most shootings, on average, they're over pretty quickly. Minimal rounds are fired. I could end up against a whole gang of people, but it's not likely. I mean, in all honesty, it's not very likely to happen. I mean, 5 rounds, 6 rounds, and a couple speed strips. I mean, really, I just don't feel I need more than that. I don't go out and do crazy shit. I don't really hang out in fucked up areas. I go to work, I do what I gotta do, and I come home and hang out with Jackie. So,
I mean, I really feel like a revolver is fine. If I need to, sometimes I'll carry 2 J-frames, you know. Got your New York reload, and there's 10 rounds right there without having to reload anything. Same as some autos. But the thing is I swear I think there's people out there that are just fantasizing about getting in a Hollywood shootout. Like, I think they really want to end up in that situation one day because they don't actually realize that, you know, what it's going to happen to them if they have to take someone's life. Like, it might not set well with you once it happens. You know, it's like they just, every day it's like they're just waiting for that moment when they could be the big hero and save the day and whatever. I don't know. That's not why I carry a gun. Personally, I carry a gun to get me out of trouble, not to engage in it. I have no desire to sit and have a shootout with people. Now, what I think is far more important than caliber, capacity, or type of gun you carry is situational awareness. You know, if you're paying attention to what's going on around you, you can avoid trouble quite often. You know, if you're just oblivious to what's going on and you're lost in your phone like a fucking zombie, that's how people catch you off guard. And then if somebody walks up and sticks a gun in your stomach and says, "Give me all your money," what are you gonna do? Hold on, and you're gonna reach for your gun, you're gonna get shot. I mean, if that person intends to shoot you, you're dead right there. So it don't matter if you have a 50-round gun in your waist or wherever the hell you have it. It ain't gonna help you. So, I mean, what are you gonna do? Give them your money and wait till they're walking away and shoot them in the back? You will go to prison for shooting somebody in the back. Now, I don't know, you can argue that if you want, but I ain't shooting nobody in the back. If you're paying attention, you see some shady shit going on, you know, if you could feel vibes off of people. I feel vibes off of everybody. I mean, even sometimes, you know, like Trump. Don't get me wrong, I hate Hillary too. I hate Trump. I hate them both. I think they're both scumbags. But I could feel the bad vibe that dude gives off through the television. If you could read people's vibes, and you know, I mean, there's always a different vibe in the air when some crazy shit's about to go down. And if you see some suspicious activity or whatever is going on, you know, you might be able to be prepared. You might have your gun out. And the thing is if I have to draw my gun, I don't want to sit. I'm not a hero. I ain't going to try to be a hero. I don't give a shit. I'm not going to try. You know, if somebody's life was most likely in jeopardy, I would like to think that I would try to help that person out. But, you know, if somebody's robbing a bank, I'm not even going to draw my gun. Fuck the bank and fuck the insurance companies. The bank will get their money back. They're not taking my money. And I'm not about to get shot or lose my life over an insurance company. Over some insurance company that's just constantly fucking people over and over and over. I will not risk my life for that. Ever. For any reason. Most businesses are insured. They'll get their money back. I am not going to lose my life or get shot over an insurance company. Not at all. Any way, any reason, anyhow. So, the reason I carry a gun is just to get the hell out of a situation. I'd rather do it with no shots fired. You know, if I can get a gun out and stop somebody before they point their gun at me and get the hell out of Dodge, that's what I prefer to do. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to work out that way. I may have to shoot at somebody, or I may get shot, who knows. But a fucking rock could fall out of the sky and hit me in the head tomorrow, but I'm still going to go outside, you know? But, I don't know, I think there's people that put so much time and effort and thought into what they carry, how they carry it on their body, you know, how many reload magazines they got, or how many whatever, you know, and they carry this gun at this time and this gun at a different time, and it's like, dude, really, how fucking many times have you been in a shootout? Seriously. I mean, just every other day getting in shootouts with people? I highly doubt it. You know, if you live in a really bad area or something, alright, you know, that might make some sense. But I don't live in a bad area, you know, I just regular ass people. You know, I'd rather get into a fight than have to shoot somebody any day. And that's why I carry the knuckles. Where's my knuckles at? That's why I carry these. Bust somebody in the mouth with these and they're gonna shut the fuck up real quick. But, you I don't know. It just trips me out. I mean, some of the things I read on forums and some of the things I see on YouTube, just it cracks me up, man. I mean, people really put so much thought into it. Like, dude, it's a fucking gun, man. Just anything's better than nothing. You know, I wouldn't feel comfortable carrying a 22. You know, I know 22s can kill. I'm not knocking a 22. I've never really even as a kid, I hated shooting 22s because they're not fun. You know, I was 12, 13 years old shooting my dad's Smith & Wesson 629. I loved 44 Magnums, 45s, 357s. I always loved the big calibers, even as a kid, years before I could drive. And I still do. They're so much fun to shoot. I love guns that kick hard. And, I don't know. But, a 38 at least, you know. I'm not a big fan of 9mm, but that's only because it's just dramatically overpopular. You know, people that are new to guns, they want to go get a 9mm Glock. Why? Because everybody's got a 9mm Glock. Well, except me. I don't have any Glocks. I don't ever plan on owning a Glock. I hate Glock. My dad had one when I was a kid. I don't remember what caliber it was, but it blew up in his hand. After that, he's never owned one. I've never owned one. And I'm not knocking them. I've always understood they're great guns. You can beat the hell out of them, get them in the mud, and they're still going to fire. I just don't like Glock. Mainly because so many people have them. You know, it's like all the time. People are like, oh, look at my Glock. Yeah, look at my Glock. Look at my Glock. And then I bust out something like this, and all the attention goes to this. All the old timers especially are looking at this like, damn, that's nice, man. And they're telling all the Glock guys, hey, you need to get one of these, dude. Now, if everybody hated Glock, I'd probably own one. But I don't like doing shit that's popular. I steer away from anything that's popular. I cannot stand it. I just have always tried to be as different as possible. And hell, I'm the only person I know that even carries a revolver. You know, I mean, there's people on YouTube that I've seen, but I mean, people I actually know personally that I see and deal with. I don't know anybody that carries a revolver. I don't think one person that I know does. So it's different, you know. It's just different, and I'm probably never gonna have to use it anyways. I mean, chances are I'll probably never have to use it. I mean, really, really unlikely I'll ever have to use it. But if I do, hey, at least I got a gun, man. It's better than nothing. And 5 shots, I mean, shit, like I said, if I have to draw my gun, I'm not doing it to engage in a firefight. It's to get the fuck out of trouble, not to get into it. So, if I can go without firing any shots, that's the best route to go, in my opinion. Because even if I kill somebody in self-defense, man, I don't want to deal with all that shit. Court, dealing with the police. You got to turn over your gun for a year, 2 years, or however long it takes before they finally release it, if they even release it. I don't want to lose my nice old school Smiths, you know? So, I don't know. That's just my opinion on it. I mean, I feel anybody should carry what they feel like carrying. You know, I mean, if a Glock is your thing, hey man, go for it. Carry it. Carry whatever one you want, whatever caliber, how many magazines you want to have. You want to get the long, extended 30-round magazine? Hey, go for it, dude. That's fine. But it's just not for me. And I used to carry autos too. And like my Beretta, certain ammunition, like I can't shoot Federal full metal jacket rounds out of it because it jams all the time with Federal. Other ammo, perfectly fine. But Federal, for some reason, it just does not suit that gun well. Now, I don't know if that's every one of those models or if it's just mine or what, but I won't even buy it anymore to shoot at the range because it always jams. Every magazine, there'll be at least one jam in it. So, anyhow, and that's just, I wanted to tell people why I carry revolvers. Because there's some people out there, I think they're actually like scared to carry a revolver because they think, you know, oh, it's not going to be enough. And, you know, I mean, really, how often do you get in shootouts? And not only that, no matter what you carry, you're always going to wish you had more. If you get into a situation where you got to pull a gun and you got to actually engage in a firefight, no matter what you got, you're going to wish you had more. You know, you could have an assault rifle, fully automatic, and you're going to wish you had
more magazines. I don't think that at any point will you ever feel, if you have to use it, that you have enough, that you're ammoed up enough. So I don't know. I just love the revolvers too, because there's something that's just scary about these revolvers. There is. I don't know what it. Maybe it's because I grew up watching the old mobster flicks, and the mobsters always, back in the day, everybody's carrying revolvers, little snubbies. And I guess that's why I've always thought they're a little bit scarier looking. I mean, any gun can kill you, so it ain't about that. It's just that there's just something about a revolver that's scary. It looks a little bit extra scary to me. And not only that, if somebody points it at you, you can tell if it's loaded. Like, you can clearly see this gun is not loaded. And you can see that there ain't even one inside. You can see where the little firing pin comes through back there. But you can tell that ain't even loaded just by looking at it. So if somebody puts a loaded revolver in your face, you know it's loaded. If somebody has an auto in your face, I mean, I would, not that I mess around anyways, but, you don't even know. Maybe it's not loaded. But, there's just something cool about a revolver. I mean, there's just something badass. Not only about a revolver, but I love snubbies. I love snubbies. I mean, shit, I got 7 of them now. And that has been my last 7 gun purchases have been snubbies. The last 7 of them have been snub nose revolvers. And it's just something cool about them, man. I mean, it's cool as fuck. And other than this one part with the cylinder, which usually sits right behind my belt, it's nice and skinny. Now, they make some skinny autos too, but that's a skinny little gun. And this part sits behind my belt anyways. And I got my little, slip it in here, sticks right behind my belt, and it hides very well. What was my other point? What was my other point? I don't know. I had another point too, but I don't remember what the hell it is. All that partying back in the days affected my memory. But, slender guns. Shit, I don't know. Oh, that's what it is. I see a lot of videos about people being scared to carry it right here. And with these, you ain't got to worry about it. This gun is not going to go off unless you purposely pull that trigger. And nothing's going to get up in here and pull that trigger. Nothing. It's not going to go off, Now, if I had, like, a Glock or my SIG, when I had that SIG, I never kept a round in the chamber. Ever. Ever. And I know people say, well, if you don't have a round in the chamber, then you're as good as that. Never had to use it. I mean, it just depends on the situation. You just got to wait for the right time, pull it out, and people hear that you racking that slide, and they hear one going in. They know it's loaded then. But, I did not like carrying around. I mean, granted, I didn't really carry it almost ever anyways, other than when I was, like, brand new, just because it's so big, because I had a full size. But, it's a good thing I didn't carry it like that, because you stick that right here with the failed drop test stuff, dude. If somebody would like thrown me a baseball and I missed it and it hit me right there, it would have blew my dick off. I don't want that. I don't want that. So these guys, you don't have to worry about it. I carry it right here all the time because it ain't gonna go off. It's not. So just something to think about. I mean, ask yourself, how likely is it you're gonna have to use a gun? Now, I'm sure there's people who are more likely to need one than others. I understand that. But, I mean, do you really need 21 rounds? I mean, not that it hurts to have it. I'm not going to deny that. It doesn't hurt to have it. But, I mean, just don't rule out revolvers. And don't knock the revolver guys just because, you got the newest, shiniest Glock you spent $3,000 on because it's a custom. Come on, man. These did very well for a very, very long time. A very long time. I mean, from like 1850, 1851, all the way up to the 1980s, people were carrying revolvers, They did just fine. Now, I will say there are a couple autos that I do really want to get still. I would like to get another SIG 320. I do like those. I want a 1911, a Colt Government 1911. I think, was it the Mark IV series? The 70s with the walnut stocks on it. That is dope. Blued one. That is so beautiful. I wouldn't mind a nickel 1911 as well. Get the pearl on it, see the Pulp Fiction style. Because it's a lot of the guns I get. I mean, I also want a Beretta 92 FS. Why? Because I grew up watching Die Hard. That's what John McClane carried. 92 FS. I love those guns. My dad used to have one of those too. I don't know whatever happened to it. I shot it as a kid some. But I don't know, he traded away or sold it or something before, back when I was younger. But he used to have a Colt Government as well, a blued Colt Government. It had the black grips on it though. It didn't have the walnut, but man, that gun was so gorgeous. And when he had to sell off a lot of his guns about 10 years ago. And when he asked me which one I wanted, I immediately said the 1911, and he said, that one's worth too much, so I had to pick something else. So I went with the 40 cal Beretta. But I like the 1911s. I like the 92 FS. I like the SIG 320. Also, I wouldn't mind having like one of those mini 1911s, like a compact 1911, not a 380, like maybe like a 9mm one, or even if the 45, I can get a 45, that'd be tight too. I love 45. A lot of people out there talk a lot of shit about the 45, which I don't know why. It's a badass round, man. It's a very strong, effective round. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it. So you can't carry as many. So what? Again, how often are you going to need that gun? How often are you going to need it? You know? Maybe once your entire life. I think it'll do just fine. Especially it's an auto. You can just pop the magazine out. You don't carry a couple extra magazines on you. Just done. Not a problem. And I saw a video. I was watching this was it a police training video? Damn, what was it? They were talking about, it was a video that an officer was doing showing how, like, the difference between, like, 5 6-round magazines, 3 10-round magazines, and 2 15-round magazines. Showing the time difference, and, and I mean, actually, they all came out to be almost exactly the same time. But one thing I'd never thought of growing up, until I watched this video, and this is just a couple weeks ago, is they're shooting through, because I've always been a round counter. I've always been a round counter. I always count my bullets as I'm shooting. And if you can keep your head enough, if you ever have to use an auto in a firefight, say you got a 1911, you got one in the chamber, was it 7+1, so you got 8 rounds. Shoot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Before you shoot that last round, your magazine's empty because your last round's in the chamber. Drop the magazine, put the new one in. That way, when you shoot that round, you never have to hit that slide release. And then the next one you have to shoot 8 rounds and then drop it. But with your last round in the chamber, drop your magazine, put the new one in. That way you never have the slide lock back and you never have to hit that release. That's a brilliant idea. I don't know how I never thought of that. Never heard of it, never thought of it, but I will definitely keep that in mind. Granted, I don't carry autos. I only own 3 of them, a little 22 Beretta, Tomcat maybe, Bobcat, something like that. The 9000S, and I have this old World War II German pistol. It's a little 32 auto, but the spring for the hammer broke in it the last time I took it out shooting, so I wouldn't carry that anyways, because that was also my dad's. So I got 2 for my dad, and then the little 22 he had sold to my aunt years ago, and she was going to get rid of it, and I saw it, thankfully, and she gave it to me. So those 3 guns, they don't even leave my house unless I'm going to the range, because they're my dad's, so I want to hang on to those. And one of these days, he's got a 637-2. It's got the lock on it. I don't know if they're up to a -3 or not, or if they're still on the -2, but he's had that gun for, God, it had him in 20 years now. I remember shooting that back. Yeah, he had to have, because I was 15 shooting that gun, and it was an air weight. And I remember back before I learned how to hold a revolver properly, that thing beat the hell out. The hammer actually dug a blister into my hand. I kept shooting it, but it dug a blister in my hand because I wasn't holding it correctly. And So one of these days, I'll get that gun. But I'm in no hurry to get it. I don't want to inherit it anytime soon. But, yeah, so once my pops, I'm not getting rid of. I'll do some videos on the Berettas and the World War II pistol one of these days. But, I've been so into the revolvers that, I haven't got around to it. Plus, I got to do one about the 1873 single action replica. I love the single action 6-shooters, man. They are fucking cool. Like I said, watching too many westerns, I had to have one. I got in a pellet gun first, where it's got like you actually load it, and it's got the like little things that look like bullets, and you put the pellet in the back of it, and you drop them down in, you single load. You got to cock the hammer halfway back, spin it around, load them in. And after that, I had to have a real one. And then I had the single action. I'm like, damn, I want a double action with a swing out cylinder. So then I bought my first Taurus, my second Taurus, and then I just fell in love with Smith & Wesson. So here I am. Anyhow, I don't know if that's helpful or not. I don't know. I just wanted to do a video, talk about why it is that I feel fine carrying a revolver, because I'll probably never have to use it. And if I do, I feel completely confident that it'll do the trick. And people talk about, wow, shit, short barrels, it's only good up to so far. Well, it depends on how good of a shot you are. If you're going to have a shot, you can shoot something 50 yards away with no problem. But how many people are going to rob you from 50 yards away? People ain't going to rob you from even 20 yards away, most likely. Chances are any kind of robbery or assault is going to happen up close. Unless you got some dude with a sniper gun trying to take you out at a distance, and then you probably wouldn't even know what's coming anyways. So, people making a really big deal about that, and I don't understand why, because why would you need to hit something 50 yards away? That makes sense. But anyways, that's all for now, and catch y'all next time.